We were born this way. We were born this way.
Yep.
And that became their whole argument and justification for why we should tolerate gayness. But I'm like, why would you make your argument something that can be co-opted by PDFs?
Okay,
yeah, exactly.
If you agree that, and that was deliberate, that wasn't an oversight. That was not an oversight. They already laid the groundwork at that stage. Okay, when you say who's they is the people who are in power. Okay, now you need to understand the fact that in America and in Britain and across Europe, most of the largest cities, over 50% of the land is owned by people. I won't say who, but they're from a culture where pedophilia is acceptable. Okay, it's acceptable. It's completely okay to marry a 9-year-old. And
can you say who? Can you say who?
I'm not allowed to say who, but hopefully you can do your homework and figure it out. Now, because so many of these people,
allowed. So there was a CBC report. Real quick, CBC report. They're called boy parties, and there's many places in the Middle East. And the prime age, they said, is I believe 13, right on the cusp of manhood, were the words. That
check out what's happening in Afghanistan for the last 500 years.
If you look, do a little bit of homework, and if you look at these countries, and if you look at the cities in the UK, various cities in the UK, okay, the top places that were reported for having an issue that's going on in the UK now that's being investigated. There's an investigation going on into grape gangs that are predominantly Asian men who are doing these grape gangs. If you look at the top cities that are involved, look at who the councillors are. Look at who the members of parliament are. Look at who the mayors are.
Right.
Okay. They are all from those parts of the world.
Yes,
almost every single state.
And if they're not, though, Damon, like it's even in America and all this kind of shit. Like
I'm talking about the places.
Just to give an example, think of True Detective season 1. That's how this shit operates. You know what I mean?
I've never seen True Detective, but however, I will give you guys props during the debate.
Season 1 is maybe one of the 3 best shows of TV
ever made.
Time.
Okay,
but season 1, you have to watch season 1 with Matthew McConaughey and what was the other guy?
What show is this? What show is this again? True
Detective season 1.
True Detective season 1. Don't watch the other ones; they're all crap. But that
season 2 was good too.
Okay.
I like when the cop's kid that was not actually his kid but was by the rapist that raped his wife.
Yeah.
And then they were picking on his kid, and then he went. And then I've said this many times: I'm not the guy. I will take the bully to his father and beat his father up in front of the bully and tell him I'll be back if it happens again. That's how I roll.
But really quick, I want to give props to Damon Teriak for this specific particular point that they brought up with First Amender about the Iran situation. That was fucking gold, especially when you mentioned that you either die a homosexual or you transition to a transsexual. This is why I added the clarification with First Amender. Do you believe they're using trans ideology as homophobic? He said, yes, this is bad. Right off the bat, when I asked that clarifying question, he lost it, right? Like he lost that point right there.
Alex,
this is why he wanted to use
it.
We got him.
I know he did. Was in total meltdown. Yeah,
I know he was. But at least First Amender was saying like, yeah, that's a hard point to argue. I'll give you that part. But then that's why they wanted to argue the Western world and not the rest of the world here.
Yeah.
But what I love at the very start, you're like,
that was the ace in the card there that got me. That I was just like, dude, fuck, you guys lost.
Irony, though,
it was done.
See at the start of the debate, you were like, I don't know what way you're doing this. Remember?
Yeah, I didn't know what way you're doing that.
Just to clarify something, though. Just to clarify something, this proves the point that we made at the very beginning about how we knew there were going to be bad faith, how we exactly knew the strategy that they were going to employ to number one, say there is no trans ideology, and to secondly, deny any kind of reality of what we actually see as ongoing messaging that's being pushed by the people who have the largest voices. Because the thing that we admitted, the thing that we said in our opening arguments is that the trans people, the individuals and the community are not the one who are dictating this ideology. The people who are establishing what the messaging behind it is, what the belief system is, and the policies and the regulations are the people who profit from it. And those are the people who dictate, those are the people who dictate what the ideology is, which is why your particular example, like you, for example, First Amender, that guy doesn't get to say that's not what it is. You don't get it. I'm sorry. You're too small a person. You don't have the platform.
Sure.
You don't have the voice. You're not trans. You don't get to say what it is because you're not funding this shit. It's the people who are funding it, the elites that are spreading the message. Those are the people. You have. He said exactly. He said you need to have gender dysphoria to be diagnosed. No, you don't. You don't need to be diagnosed with gender dysphoria to be able to be transitioned. You don't need that. You can just say I feel like it. And
he admitted that later though, Damon. He literally admitted that if you feel that way,
he said if you feel that way, you're that thing.
Yeah, but he said that later. When you were bringing that up to him, he denied it. But later, he did say it's a matter of the mind and not the physicality.
The critical thing that both he and Alex kept trying to interrupt us.
Damon, you cut out, bro.
Well, he's.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
The thing that's most.
Yeah, go ahead. So just to finish, so the thing that they kept trying to interrupt us for and not let us finish the point on was when we were trying to establish the process of how you're going to transition. He kept saying you need your first port of call is to speak to a professional. They're going to hear you out and they're going to make a judgment on whether or not you have gender dysphoria. This is a lie. That does not happen. And even if it does happen, those people are financially incentivized to put you on the path of transitioning. This is what makes the most money for their industry. So if you don't do it, and if you have somebody in a school whose job it is to do that and put you on that pathway and you're not doing it, guess what they're going to do? They're going to hire somebody else who does a better job than you because that's what they want. They want the money. And if you do the right thing, they're going to say, great, well done, but they're not going to renew your contract and they're going to get somebody else. Now, what does happen, the sad fact is those people who get put on that process to talk to a professional, think about what those professionals do. If you say that you feel like, because Teriak touched on this point a few times, if you're going to try and say, I think like I might be a woman, or maybe I'm, if you're a boy and you say, I feel like I'm a girl, or if you're a girl and say, I feel like maybe I'm a boy, right? Those are the people who are going to determine if you are that thing and if you need to be transitioned. But these, like I said in my opening statement, these are the people who can't tell you what a boy is or what a girl is or what a man is or what a woman is. So if you can't tell me what that thing is, how the fuck do you know that I'm that thing or that I think I'm that thing? You don't even know what the fuck it is. So this is the big flaw in their fucking logic. And you have this massive logical gap, which they won't acknowledge. They won't be honest about it. So how can you determine that you believe that person and that they genuinely are the other gender, that they have a male brain or a female brain?
Yeah, no, I totally get you there, Damon. Really quickly, we got a $5 super chat from, hold on, Kizum that says, as I said earlier in the debate, there are many trans activists who try to redefine homosexuality to be all about gender, not sex, not the body. Thank you so much for that fucking comment, bro. And I'll tell you this, guys, we're fucking winning on this. This was a great debate because I'll tell you this, they killed out on the Iran situation. I thought that was fucking a fucking burn. That was a burn there.
Yeah,
then on top of that, the genocide situation that Teriak mentioned in his opening statement, that was never really addressed at all. As far as like Teriak's argument saying that castration would still be a genocide.
Stole everything he said from me.
But that's what I'm saying.
Fair enough on that, but
that's where this argument came from, Tenth Man. That's why it's like consider this like a thank you or like in terms of like perspective and representation.